So whenever we say synthesis, it's nothing but the reactions, sequence of chemical reactions that converts your starting material into your desired compound. Now this desired compound, generally we call it as target molecule, right? So what happens is the synthesis, any synthesis, it can be either a single step reaction or it may consist of a large number of reactions. For example, if you want to produce cholesterol from acetyl CoA, so what happens? How many step reaction, does anyone know what? How many steps does it require? Cholesterol from acetyl CoA is synthesized by 37 steps in sequence. Okay, and there are some reactions like your if I say it's SN2 mechanism, any reactions proceeding by SN2 mechanism, those are just single step reactions, right? So either your synthesis can be considered as a single step reactions, or they may have 4-5 step reactions, or it can have large number of steps. Okay, now why is it of importance? Why do you want to study this synthesis topic? If you see, what happens is we are more into right now in synthesizing more of natural products, right? It can be anything like your perfume, flavors, or it can be any let's say pharmaceuticals, right? Medicines. So anything that if you want to prepare, definitely we have to synthesize it, right? And why are we requiring to synthesize it? Because their demand in nature is not up to the mark, right? So we need it to synthesize these medicines and perfumes, whatever. If we can get it from the nature in abundant, then we don't need it, isn't it? There is no point of synthesizing. But as you know that as natural products, whatever it is, let's say something like flavors, right? You want a lemon flavor, so every time they cannot use it in their pure form, right? They cannot just every time use it. How many lemons are they going to add it as a flavor? So what they do is they add actually a chemical compound, or what I can say, they synthesize that compound which actually gives you the flavor of your lemon. Okay, in next slide, what is organic synthesis? Process of designing a molecule from a starting material using basic principles of organic chemistry. It is nothing, you can say that you start from a small simple molecules. Okay, it's not necessary that it has to be a simple molecule. There is possibility, for example, if you see जो medicines होते हैं, we actually prepare a compound, and from that we modify its structures and we form a series of compounds. We call it as homologues, right? So once we know that yes, this structure is giving that physiological, showing some physiological activity, so what we try to do is we try to enhance its activity by making some changes in their structure, by adding some substituents on it, by adding some branch chains on it. Okay, and we get a series of new compounds. So it's not always like you have to start from your simple molecules only. You may use intermediate chemistry. Now, how did it start? It actually started in the year 1828 when, by mistake, Frederick Kohler synthesized your natural product, that is urea, in the lab. Now you have one, as I told you last time, that you will be having, I need to give an assignment, right? So just note down discovery of urea by Wohler. You have to write about this. This was actually he didn't plan to synthesize urea. Okay, so this was an unexpected discovery, which is again an organic product, or what I can say a biomolecule, isn't it? Which was first time synthesized in the lab. And after that, the another organic molecule that was synthesized was acetic acid in the year 1845. Okay, so can you see this? This is a one carbon containing urea, isn't it? NH2CO NH2, and your acetic acid is CH3COOH, two carbon containing compounds. So initially, what we have done is we have tried to synthesize small organic compounds, and as time passed, they accelerated in this field, and now you know any compound that you want to synthesize, you can easily do it. Okay, any natural products, you name any natural products, we can synthesize it. Definitely some synthesis will cost you a lot, and some synthesis is going to be a very uh, economically, it's very cheap. Okay, so
Ma'am.
next point is criteria of ideal synthesis. Ideal synthesis, what does that mean? Perfect synthesis. Like if you want to synthesize, if you want to form any product, okay, you have to consider some criterias. And if, for example, out of many synthetic routes, for example, let's say if I'm saying you prepare salicylic acid, how you are going to do it? Or let's say if I'm saying you prepare paracetamol, what you will do? Some student will say we are going to prepare it with salicylic acid. Some will say no, I'll start with benzene. Benzene के ऊपर मैं hydroxylation करूँगा, carboxylation करूँगा, फिर मैं salicylic acid बनाऊँगा, and then उसका acetylation करके you are going to prepare paracetamol. Okay, and the first student, what he will do? He said कि he want to do it from salicylic acid itself. He is having salicylic acid in his lab. Okay, so what the student will do? He will just acetylate your salicylic acid, and he will get the paracetamol. That is acetanilide, for 3-hydroxyacetanilide. Okay, so the thing is, you have two routes available over here. Now what do you think? So which one will be good one? If you see first student, he is directly synthesizing your paracetamol from salicylic acid, and the second one is starting from benzene. I will say that the synthesis carried out by the first student will be more ideal as compared to second one. Why so? Because the second student is using starting material which is not are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because Harold is saying it's poor connectivity. Okay, fine. It's clear, right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the second student is actually using benzene, which is actually harmful for the life, right? It's a carcinogenic. Correct. So what I suggest is, I think the student one, the one who will be starting his synthesis from salicylic acid, will be much more ideal. Now, one more thing, the number of steps involved is also less in synthesis carried out by first student. And in case of second student, what will happen? First, he will convert your benzene into salicylic acid. So these steps are added extra, right? So you have to make sure whenever you are doing synthesis, this criteria are obeyed. The first one is starting material. Okay, the starting material is nothing but your raw material, or you can say your initial reactant, and you have to make sure that it is readily available. It should be not expensive, it should not be inflammable, it should not be carcinogenic, isn't it? It should not be harmful to the life and environment. Fine. And the second criteria is steps involved. Now, it has been said that a synthesis involving less number of steps are they have greater efficiency and yield. Okay, because what happens, as the number of steps increases, what will happen? What do you think? So the yield will keep decreasing. For example, if I am starting, my initial compound is A, and I am taking 2 grams. Okay, and I want to synthesize Z, and my synthesis is actually involving 5 steps. So first A, it will convert it into B. So 2 grams, do you think so entire 2 grams of A will convert it into 2 grams of B? No. So let's say in first step there is some losses, there are some byproducts. So from 2 grams of A, I am getting only 1.5 gram of B. Now this B will change to C, then C will change to D, and as you keep proceeding, what will happen? The yield will keep on decreasing, and at the end Z will be having much lesser yield. And let's say if the number of steps involved is less, let's say it's just a two-step reaction. For example, acetanilide, salicylic acid to acetanilide. It's just a one-step reaction. What you have to do is you have to add in acetic anhydride in a controlled amount in salicylic acid. So what will happen? Let's say you are taking 2 grams of salicylic acid, you will get paracetamol directly, isn't it? And the thing is here, your initial compound is paracetamol. So definitely from 2 gram, there is possibility you may get 1.6 gram or 1.7 gram after you just separate your byproducts and purification. Okay. So you have to make sure that your synthesis must involve less number of steps and it should be cost effective. Now what does that mean? The chemical substances you are using and operational procedures that you are going to use, okay, this should not be too expensive. For example, let's say if you want to same paracetamol, you can do it by microwave synthesis also, and you can go with directly traditional synthesis also. Traditional synthesis, what does that mean? I am using my burner, okay, and microwave, if you see, you will be using your microwave. You will be using your microwave apparatus. Okay, so let's say if I am not having microwave, so what do you expect me to buy microwave? I won't buy it, as I can do the same synthesis in my lab on burner, right? So I would prefer to go with traditional synthesis. And the last one is byproducts. You have to make sure choose a path which will release less number of byproduct, okay, or there is no formation of byproduct. Fine with this? Or what you can say, both the path, they are giving byproduct. So choose a one wherein your byproduct is less harmful to the environment. Okay, just don't go with let's say if one of the synthesis is releasing carbon dioxide and methane and the another one is releasing nitrogen, so you should go with the one which is releasing nitrogen as byproduct, not with your carbon dioxide and methane, as these are greenhouse gases, right? So these are the criteria. So it's not always like for example salicylic acid to paracetamol, right? Now let's say if you are not having it in your lab, so what you have to do, you have to buy it, right? But prefer the one which is giving you larger yield. There is possibility यहाँ पे आपका expense हुआ, you had to buy it, but what will happen, it will give you larger yield, right? And there is almost byproduct is acetic acid, which you can just directly filter it out, and it is soluble in water also. So again, byproduct in the byproduct which is formed, that is acetic acid, in the formation of paracetamol from salicylic acid, it won't be that harmful to the environment. Okay, again स्टार्टिंग मटेरियल सिर्फ आपके पास नहीं है सैलिसिलिक एसिड, सो उसके लिए क्या करना पड़ा, आपको बाय करना पड़ा. ओके, सो दिस हैज कॉस्टेड यू, बट व्हाट विल हैपन, I will prefer to go with this step only instead of going with benzene, because number of steps involved here is less, and also the byproduct formation is almost negligible, and it is not harmful for the environment also. Okay, so it doesn't mean that your synthesis will be obeying all these steps, but you have to carefully consider which synthesis you want to go by. Okay, next one, classification of synthesis. Okay, so the first one is linear synthesis. Okay, your synthesis can be classified as linear synthesis, convergent synthesis, then we do have multi-component synthesis, then divergent synthesis. Something you would have heard, I guess, total synthesis of your natural products. Have you heard it? Total synthesis. I think you may be having it in your biotech. Total synthesis and partial synthesis. Are you all with me?
Not yet.
Ishan?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I clear? Yes, I cannot hear you. Shreya,
Yes, ma'am.
I hope I am clear. I am clear, right?
Yes, ma'am, you're clear.
Okay, fine. So let's start with the classification. First one is linear synthesis. Now, just see this. A molecule A will undergo a reaction. It will give you some another molecule. Okay. Then again it will go undergo a reaction. Let's say A is undergoing reaction and it is forming an intermediate M. Then M is undergoing a reaction. It will lead to N. Then again this will undergo a reaction. It will lead to P. Again next step it will be converted into Q. And at the end you are going to react Q with a reagent and it will give you your desired target molecule, that is your B. So it's involving 5 steps over here. What is linear synthesis? The target compound is made through a series of linear transformation. Okay. If I am skipping any of these steps in between, I won't be able to reach to B. Okay, and it's not like let's say Josh and Ishan together they can do this. No, ऐसे नहीं चलेगा कि ईशान बोल रहा है मैं पहले M वाला रिएक्शन करता हूँ, जॉश टू साइड में P बना. P कैसे बनाएगा वो? उसके लिए N लगेगा, right? And from where he will get N? Obviously you have to convert your M into N first, and then only N will convert it into P, right? So what do you see here is this is very time consuming, right? Why so? Because first reaction it will take some time and it will lead to M, right? Again M to N conversion will take some time and this step will come after only this step, correct? Now N again it will convert it into P and this step will come only after this step, correct? क्योंकि M N में अगर convert नहीं होता है, so you cannot convert N to P, okay? Then P to Q, Q to B. So this is a linear synthesis. Okay. Now look here. There is an example of para-bromoaniline. Synthesis of para-bromoaniline. What they have done is they have synthesized it from a simple molecule aniline. What they have done here, it's an acetylation by using acetic anhydride. So this is N-acetylation. And what is liberated over here? If you see here, CO, CH3 is attached to your nitrogen. One hydrogen from here is released and CH3COO is released. So acetic acid will be released here as byproduct. Now the next step what they have done is bromination. It's a ortho-para-directing. Definitely यहाँ पे bromine नहीं add हो पाएगा. होगा. There will be a compound or what I can say there will be a byproduct where bromine is present over here. But this will be very less in amount. Why so? Because there is a bulky group over here, there will be severe steric hindrance, right? It will be highly unstable. So preferably bromine will go and attach at para position. Okay, once you get this, what you have to do is hydrolyze. So you are deprotecting your amino group. Okay, and you will get back your amino. Fine, and you reach at this point. So you cannot skip any of the steps. Fine, it's a linear synthesis. Next is convergent synthesis. Now convergent, what does that mean? Converge means to merge. Individually prepared compounds are convergently brought together to make a target compound. Now what here? B is your target compound. So how you will get B? For B you have to react your D and F together. Okay. Now D and F को भी आपको बनाना पड़ेगा. Fine. So what you can do over here is one of the student can start preparing D from C. Okay. And one of the students simultaneously he can start preparing F from E. And what will happen? Let's say this is taking 2 hours. This entire 2 step is taking 2 hours and this is taking let's say 1.5 hours. So basically क्या होगा? Within 2 hours your D and F will be ready. And you just react them and you will get your target molecule. Okay. So simultaneously you can start preparing your individual compounds in this case. Okay, but what happens here? You have to wait. For example, if I say Shreya को M बनाना है, Shataka को N बनाना है, then Srushti को P बनाना है, Maheshwari को Q बनाना है. Okay, so Shreya cannot start her work unless and until Shataka makes M. Okay, M बना के Shataka को Shreya को देना पड़ेगा, so that she converted into N. Okay, so you have to stand by, correct, for linear synthesis. But here that's not the case. You can two students can simultaneously work. Okay, you have to prepare your intermediate molecules and then merge it. You will get your B. Advantages of convergent synthesis: this is shorter in the sense in terms of time limit. Okay. Then next is simpler to execute. Obviously, two students can start together working. And next one is higher overall yield. In this case, the yield will be good. Okay, and in this case, yield won't be good. For example, if I start from 2 gram, what will happen to my M? Definitely it will increase. Let's say this is becoming something like 1.7. Now, what do you think? So, M to N convert करना है श्रेया को. So, if she is using 1.7 gram, do you think so she will get 1.7 gram? No, this will further get reduced. She may get let's say 1.4 or 1.3, right? Then the another person, again this will further get reduced, and at the end Q will further get reduced, and you will get at the end your B, yield for your B will be reduced, right? In this case, as you can see here, the number of steps is lesser, right? Let's say C to D. If you are starting C from 2 grams, there is possibility, let's say this is, you are getting it as somewhere like 1.5 gram. If you are starting E with 1 gram and F, you are getting F something like 0.9 or 0.8. You just have to combine it and you will arrive at your B. So comparatively, if you want to prepare a target molecule and you have two pathways, one of the reaction is linear and the another one is convergent, go with the convergent. Okay, because it will take your less time and your yield will also be higher. Okay, now last one more, it's a triply convergent. What does that mean? My target molecule E is prepared from D, F, H. Okay, so 3 students can work simultaneously. One student can start preparing D by using C, one student can start preparing F, one student can start preparing H. Okay, and then at the end, once you are ready, just mix them all, react it, and you will arrive at your target molecule I. Okay. You can just read out this. Last point is very important. Proteins of up to 300 amino acids are produced by a convergent approach. Let's say what you are going to do here is 3-4 students can start working together once you know the sequence. Let one student start preparing initial segment of 50 molecules. Let's say let one student start preparing second segment of 80 molecules. Next student, let's start preparing another segment of 80 molecules, and the fourth one can do it the last fragment. Okay, and once you have your fragments ready, what you can do, you just have to attach them. Okay, you just have to condense them together and you will get your proteins. Okay, नहीं तो आप 300 अमीनो एसिड को कैसे एक एक करके ज्वाइन करते बैठोगे? It will take a lot of amino acid. It will take a lot of time. Fine. Okay, so here is an example. That's a formation of Benadryl. Benadryl याद है? एक Benadryl हमें दे खांसी से आराम. Do you remember that ad? Okay, so it's your drug. It's an antihistaminic. Okay, सबने सुना रहेगा obviously. So this is your antihistaminic. That is it is used against allergies. So generally all those cough, cold, and all those things can be cured with the help of this. It's also somewhat antidepressants, I can say, sedative type. Okay, so to synthesize your Benadryl, if you look at this structure, what do you need is compound A. Okay, and this is your compound B. Compound A and compound B. So how did you get this structure, by the way? Can you look at here? It's just they are just condensing it, and a small simple molecule will be eliminated. HBr is going to be removed. Can you see the structure? CH will get joined to O. Okay, so you need to have this A and B molecule. So what you can do is, one of the student can start preparing A, one of the student can start preparing B. Okay, so here is the first one. Step 1 is they have started it with oxirane with dimethyl aniline. Dimethyl, it's amine, dimethylamine. Okay, now what is happening here? What do you think? So again you have your lone pair of electrons on nitrogen, correct? As soon as it will attack here, this will have this already have your 4 bonds, correct? And if you are forming a new bond with nitrogen, definitely one bond has to be broken. What do you think? So which one will break up? This one, CC carbon or CO? Obviously oxygen is more electronegative. अगर कार्बन बॉन्ड ब्रेक कर रहा है, isn't it? Carbon doesn't want any more electrons. So what this oxygen will do? Obviously it will take back electrons, as it is electronegative. And what will happen? You'll get this product. Okay, N, as soon as N will attach here, N will get positive charge. So to get positive charge, to remove positive charge, nitrogen will be releasing this hydrogen, H plus ion, and that H plus will go and attach to your oxygen. So you will get your OH functional group, and here you will be having your NCH3. Okay, so this is your compound A. The another student simultaneously can start preparing your B molecule with the help of diphenylamine. Okay, it's diphenyl. So bromination on diphenylamine, what will happen here? It's a simple bromination reaction, okay, in presence of light. So you will get your molecule B, and at the end just combine A and B and you will get your benzyl. So this is an example of your convergent synthesis. Same advantages I have already discussed. You can just go through it. And mostly जो भी हमारे organic compounds होते हैं, natural products होते हैं, we prefer to go with convergent because this natural products and all these things are very complex. You cannot go with linear. It will take a long time. The same thing happens with your cholesterol synthesis in your body. Cholesterol with acetyl CoA. It is completed. It has something 37 steps. Okay, it's a linear synthesis. पहले intermediate 1 बनेगा, 2 बनेगा, 3 बनेगा, 4 बनेगा. It needs to be converted in the next intermediate. Okay. The next one is divergent synthesis. Now what is this divergent synthesis? Convergent में क्या किया आपने? You have merged it. Okay. Now if you see here divergent, there is a molecule prostaglandins. Now what they have done here is they are just changing the side chains. Okay, if you see the core structure will remain same. They are just changing the side chains and they get entirely a new product. For example, you know in your body cholesterol can transform it into hormones, correct? All your steroidal hormones are nothing but they have been transformed from your cholesterol. Yes or no? Even your cholesterol can give
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Even your cholesterol can.
Yes, ma'am.
आप लोग सो रहे हो क्या इतना? Yes, ma'am. How many lectures you had in the morning? Just 2, right? And you are bored enough. Okay, let's complete this divergent synthesis and I will stop. Fine with this? Yes, I'll consider it as yes, or I can continue. Okay, so what we have done here is we are just changing the side chains, and you will get your entirely a new product. Okay, you get your entirely new compounds. This happens actually in your pharmaceuticals. Okay, whatever medicine, for example, salicylic acid, it does have analgesic properties, but what we have done, we have just modified its structure. Paracetamol, I think I have its structure in the slides itself. Wait. I don't know, here it's not there, it seems. Okay, you have your antibiotics, right? Penicillin. What they have done is they have just changed some structure. For example, यहाँ पे acetyl group डाला है, right? NH2 पे acetyl group attach किया है, and they have changed this substituent also. Okay, but if you see, the core structure is same. So what they are doing is they are performing a reaction on an already available compound, and what they are trying to do is they are just innovating it. Okay, as you know that salicylic acid can be obtained from your plant. Okay, but what happens is uska reactivity itna acha nahi hai. Once they acetylate it, they will get paracetamol, and what they have found out is paracetamol is actually more efficient in treating pains. Okay, so this is how it works. So generally, from divergent synthesis, you have one intermediate and you keep on changing its side chains. For example, sulfur drugs, you just keep changing side chains and you will get a list of drugs, and there is possibility these new drugs, these new structures, some may be having higher reactivity, some may not at all reactive, some may be having lower reactivity, and there is possibility the another structure is showing something else. For example, the rest were all painkillers, the fourth structure is showing some sedative effect. Okay, so these are called actually homologs. What I'll say, the new compounds will be called as homologs. Okay, they have their core structure is actually similar, only their side chains differ. Rather than use a linear synthesis for all reagents, a divergent synthesis allows the use of a common intermediate. You will be having a common product and you keep changing its structure to get a new related product. Okay, look here, the last line. It's a very good strategy for structure activity studies. Okay, this is generally done in your medical field. Okay, so I think I should stop now. We will continue with this total synthesis next time.